Welcome to Pioneer Ion Sports. I'm Sam.
And I'm Corinne. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about this week in the world of sports.
First off, let's start off with Formula One.
Oh yeah, so we're back in racing season, which is pretty cool. And obviously, Max Verstappen still in first place, still doing great. Red Bull is up by 38 points and will be switching to Ford engines next year from Honda. I just found out because they're done with their contract. What do you think about that?
That's very interesting. When it comes to engine switches, it's always something I take a lot of interest in, especially when it comes to finding it out. I am still a fan of the old V12s they used to use back in 2004. That's actually one of my alarm sounds, is waking up to that high-pitched screaming of an engine. I don't think we're ever going to get that again, unfortunately. But I'm interested to see what these new ones do in terms of sound and performance. I hope that they are up to par with what is currently going on.
Well, Ford's never designed a racing engine before, so this is going to be completely new turf for them, and it's kind of up in the air whether this is going to be a plus or something that's going to drag Red Bull down.
Yeah, Ford has a saying that can go fix or repair daily, so I am definitely interested in seeing how they do. I know they have good performance in other things. They have a few rally cars they would run, so they may turn out well. I'm definitely interested to see what they end up putting out there.
What's going on in the Indy right now?
So in IndyCar world, that's going to be firing up pretty soon, and one of the biggest pieces of news in that is around here in Nashville, where the Music City race will not be through downtown like it always has been, and it will now be at the Super Speedway, which this will be the first time in a long time they've done it at an oval track, especially one that is as good as the Super Speedway we have here. But unfortunately, we're not going to see them race in the downtown area for the next 3 to 4 years until they finish the construction on the new stadium.
That's really unfortunate.
Very much so. I miss seeing them around downtown. I went to go and watch a race last year. Got to meet a couple of the drivers and some folks around there. But it is cool that we still have an IndyCar race locally here in town.
Speaking of the next 3 to 4 years, it turns out the Barnes & Noble in Hendersonville is closing, and they're replacing it with a UFC gym.
Sorry to all you bookheads. We now have more sports to cover.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I personally feel like we had a UFC gym here in Hendersonville. I don't know how long ago. Obviously, if I don't know how long ago and it closed down, it wasn't that successful. So I'm super interested to see if maybe this new change of location, the bigger atmosphere, maybe that's going to bring in more fighters in Hendersonville, Tennessee. But that's kind of going to be up in the air, I guess.
I was going to say, when it comes to that, is this sort of an open gym where someone can just come in and sign up, or how does that work?
They have not really talked to us about that much yet. The landlord that previously owned the Barnes & Noble felt that it would be better to put a UFC gym there. Not sure if that was a money grab or what it was going to be overall, but they seem to think it's going to be pretty successful there. The ceilings are super tall and the store is super wide, and so that's going to make a lot of room for any rings and anything along the side for training. So I guess it is an optimal location, but Barnes & Noble has been a staple of the Indian Lake area for 16 years. And a lot of people that still work there at the very beginning. So this is going to be displacing a lot of people. So I really hope this gym is successful and a necessity.
I was going to say, with the coming of the gym, it would sound like USC is something popular in the area. I don't think they would just build a gym for no reason. How popular do you think it is?
I haven't really heard much about, I know that they've got wrestling teams at most of the schools, but as far as them wanting to actually go into professional wrestling and UFC, I'm not really sure. So I guess maybe there's just a ton of fighters out there in their basements just waiting for that perfect UFC gym to open up, and it's just going to be a whole thing, put us on the map.
Well, speaking of fighters, coming soon is the infamous Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. I know we both have a lot to talk about that. What do you feel about it?
I definitely think it's, personal opinion, if Jake wins, it was staged. Because there is no way, he's not, and it's not anything against Jake Paul as a person. I really do think that he is he's 27. Mike is 57, and he's been training. Actually, some stats. He has double the numbers of wins and KOs, and he's not like double the weight. He's 220, whereas Jake is 119. But what upsets me the most is that even if he does win, he's allowed to wear headgear. They've made special exceptions for him, such as he can take any performance-enhancing drugs he wants. There will be no drug test for him. He can pull in Logan at any time if he feels like he's losing, and there is no rule saying they can't both fight Tyson at the same time. But Tyson's still favored.
Yeah, there's a lot of rule bending for this. Typically in a fight, it's a 1v1. It's just you and the other person. This seems very much so like Jake knows that he's the underdog here and that he needs every bit of help he can get, which is why they have changed these sorts of rules. And it makes sense for that because Mike Tyson is quite the guy when it comes to him compared to Jake Paul in very much so every single way. Something I was just researching and looking at, their fighting styles are very different. And comparing Mike's to Jake's, it looks like if it was just the 1v1, Jake would be out almost like that. Mike loves to rush his opponent and just go for every single hit he can possibly get, and Jake is not quite like that. Jake will wear his opponent down and wait until he messes up and then strike, but Mike doesn't mess up like that, not that easily, before Jake could get hit too many times and probably be out of it.
Well, again, like he's been doing this for years. There's no way he's going, and he's training while Jake is doing podcasts and doing publicity things. This is very obviously a publicity grab. This is not the first time he's fought a retired fighter, and it's great. I know he says that he was like his idol, and then did this whole video about, and then he came in and he said, "Where are you from?" Logan. And he was like, and after he called me Logan, that was it. I was gonna fight him and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna kill him. Mike Tyson literally bit a guy's ear off one time. Like, you're not gonna kill him. You're 27 and way less than him. But Mike has to meet the weigh-in. But Jake doesn't.
Yeah, and that's also considering that Jake is almost just half as old as Mike. Hasn't been around for, like I said, barely even half his age, and has only been fighting for just a few years, and Mike has been doing this his whole life almost.
Yeah, I see why Jake would want to do this, but I feel like he's still in that mindset of, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a content creator, this is what I'm here for. I don't think he's really in it for the craft. I don't really know much about either of the brothers, but I do know that Logan has really leaned into his fighter career and tried to take his hands off of his YouTube career, and I think that Jake is still kind of in the mindset of, I need to create content for my fans. I don't know if you would really call wrestling an art or not. I know it's a sport.
I think there's an art to almost anything that
Yeah.
you do. If there's something, you can do almost anything well in life. There's always something you can always master a skill or do something better at. So yeah, I would definitely call fighting an art.
Yeah, well, I think that Mike is, perfected the art.
More of an artist
yeah,
than Jake.
Very, very much so, but yeah, I definitely think if Mike is most, like 99.9% going to win, and if he doesn't, it was staged. I think, hot take.
Definitely something I'll be interested in watching when the time comes. In other news, the Lady Vols have earned their 42nd straight NCAA bid facing the Green Bay in Raleigh. What do you think about that?
I think that that's amazing. I think that's pretty cool. Women teams are coming up in sports, and I think they're getting a lot more publicity, and they're doing great. I'm really happy for them.
Yeah, especially considering this is their 42nd straight bid.
Wow.
Doing this for a long time.
Yeah. That wraps up this edition of Pioneer Eye on Sports. I'm Corinne.
And I'm Sam.
Thanks for watching.